And I bet you can never put your phone on DND.
No. I have the loudest ringtone.
Really?
You'll see.
What is it?
And the longest ringtone ever. It's the dun 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 dun. It's that one. I wish I could hear that every night, you know.
And those are the starting lineups.
6-7.
Lots of interesting matchups tonight. Stick around. We'll be right back with more. Welcome to a special presentation of the NBA on Christmas Day here on 2K Sports. We want to wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas. Alongside Greg Anthony, Coach Stan Van Gundy, and our reporter, the Hall of Famer David Aldridge, I'm Kevin Harlan, and tonight we'll be joined by the man with his finger on the pulse and the starting lineup for the Timberwolves. Edwards on the wing. He's joined by McDaniel. Julius Randle is out there with Gobert, and it's Conley in at the point. And for Dallas, and one forward, Thompson. And the other forward, Washington. The star backcourt, Doncic and Irving are the guard set, and it's Lively in at the center. One thing Shams here talked about, banning top 10 pick protections in trades. Why is that?
We saw Dallas absorb a big fine a couple years ago, but then they drafted Derek Lively, and it truly worked out for them. So if you're going to avoid that, maybe it's better to change the trade rules to avoid those kinds of incentives. But Dallas really, I think if they could do that over again and absorb the fine, they would want it to be double the amount, the way that Derek Lively looked, the way that he played.
Well said. I totally agree. Doncic passes to Washington. And then Washington with the dunk.
The orchestrator, Doncic knows where everyone is at all times and completely dictates the pace.
And Randle throws it down.
Well, he can play the four because he gets off the ground so well.
Doncic against Conley. Doncic passes to Washington.
He's just adept at gutting the defense in these sets. Give Doncic a passing lane, and he'll thread the needle.
The pass to Randle. A rebound by Washington.
It's a defender doing just enough to cause a miss on the layup.
And as the salary cap looks set to rise significantly, Shams, any major effects that you can anticipate?
It won't be like the year the Warriors signed KD. They're going to smooth the cap numbers, and it's not going to spike quite the same. But these numbers will continue to get eye-popping when you think about player salary, and you have to keep in mind luxury tax and the new second apron that came into play with the collective bargaining agreement, and that will play a part in how teams build, not putting yourself in a restrictive position to continue to build winning organizations.
A lot of moving parts to contend with, but boy, a lot on the horizon.
And you think back to when McDaniels was drafted. Everyone talked about his potential. Now they're talking about his consistency as a contributor, especially at the defensive end.
And finished off by right hand.
And he can time his passes so perfectly. Wow, what an assist.
The Timberwolves have gone 2 of 3 here to start out the game. Pass to Gobert. Here in the first quarter with about 2 minutes gone by. To the middle. Randle outside. 6 on the shot clock. For 3. It's hauled in by Doncic. The Mavericks have gone 4 of 5 from the field so far. And foul on the shot, so he'll get a chance at the line. Michael Conley picks one up. Shams, we know you've reported on so many big trades that did happen. Were there ever a few that were close to happening but may have fallen apart at the 11th hour?
I always wait until things are 100% confirmed, but listen, there's always a trade or two that's viewed as done but just does not happen, whether it's sours, whether something falls apart. There's always one deal or two that falls apart at the trade deadline or in the offseason, but I try to wait as best I can and make sure that when I report, it is confirmed.
I eye-popping talent from Doncic. We don't see many players with his size and skill set.
Right now, let's send it over to the sidelines and get a report from David Aldridge.
Well, I briefly spoke with Jason Kidd, and we talked about the tall task of facing Anthony Edwards. Coach said he is so physical. Ant looks more like a linebacker than a wing, so we can't foul Edwards too much. That's playing right into his hands. So they'll try to play him tight without sending him to the line. Not easy to do. Back to you guys.
Okay, David, thanks. Timeout call first in the game for Minnesota. Now we get a chance to check out the standings out west. Already we're in December. Take a look at the Mavericks. They're fourth in the conference and looking to make a move the latter part of the season. And, of course, there's Minnesota, 4.5 games behind.
Well, right now for the Timberwolves, they had much bigger things in mind when the season started. They didn't think of themselves as a middle-of-the-road club, but right now, that's where they are.
Yeah, they wanted to accomplish more this season, but things haven't quite worked out. Some bad breaks along the way.
Hey, Shams, you're always on the pulse of those league-changing trades. We certainly saw some impactful ones last season.
Across the board, the Pacers, the Mavericks, they made deep runs, and they did so on the back of some big trade deadline moves. Those are transformations that excite all of us to witness. Even New York getting OG Anunoby at the trade deadline. This is a league that's built on capitalizing at the moment and striking when the iron's hot, and we saw multiple teams do that this last season.
Yeah, that trade deadline was phenomenal for those teams you mentioned. Really impactful. Irving passes to Lively. Inside, here's McDaniels, and that one falls coming off Conley's feet.
Well, smart idea from McDaniels, looking to convert inside.
Doncic against Conley. Doncic passes to Washington. Tried to fade back in there, but it's off the mark. The Minnesota Timberwolves coming to this one following a loss to the Hawks in Atlanta.
In the NBA, you've got to keep pace. It's a fast track out there. And I thought their lack of hustle defensively was the story of the game.
Yeah, poor communication at the defensive end. Many of the rotations were late.
And Dallas calls their first time out of the game. Last time they met was in Minnesota, where they beat the Timberwolves.
Yeah, really ratcheted up the pressure in their last matchup, getting steals and just creating havoc defensively.
Well, when you can turn defense into offense like that, it certainly makes the game a lot easier.
Catching up on the changes for Dallas. Daniel Gafford's checked in for Jarek Lively. Maxi Kleber comes in for P.J. Washington. Marshall, he's checked in for Thompson. And it's Quentin Grimes in for Kyrie Irving. Knocked loose. It's stolen by DiVincenzo. The wide open look here for Ingles. Drills the three-pointer. And we'll get a look at how the hustle stat game has been going for Minnesota.
Well, so far they've done a great job of reading the offense and repeatedly putting themselves in the right place to interrupt the play and force turnovers.
They've out-hustled the opponent so far in this one. A lot of points in the open floor, and that's giving them the advantage.
And he gets the bucket.
The ball movement on this run has been fantastic and is a big part of why they've been able to get these good balls.
And the whistle blows. It's going to be on Luka Doncic. That is his first foul of the game.
And really just a great play to sacrifice his body and take the charge.
Here's DiVincenzo. The Mavericks pull it in. There's 31 seconds left to play in the first. Gafford, good, and the assist goes to Doncic. Doncic has got 6 assists in the game.
And certain guys dictate the pace of the game. Doncic as much as anyone.
DiVincenzo passes to Reed. Back to DiVincenzo. A beautiful reverse layup.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep getting it in the paint and continue to score consistently.
Doncic passes to Gafford. Can't hit from in close.
Suffocating defense to keep the layup from falling.
The scoring fast and furious at the end of the first quarter. Timberwolves ahead.
17, the Timberwolves. 21.
And we welcome you back to NBA action, a great tradition, Christmas Day basketball, here on 2K Sports. And before we move on, what do you guys think about what we've seen so far from the Timberwolves?
Yeah, in that first period, they looked to push in transition at every opportunity.
Yeah, they gave the other team no time to breathe. Every time they got the ball, they were off to the races. And you see how effective this aggressive mindset can be.
Irving on the wing along with Thompson. Then there's Daniel Gafford. Then there's Harden, and it's Marshall in at the power forward position. So that's who Dallas starts the second with. And the influx of international players continues to just fill these rosters in the NBA. And Shams, it has truly become a global league.
It's truly a beautiful thing, right, Kevin? We want sports to bring people together, to really galvanize communities, no matter your ethnicity, no matter your gender, anything. And now I really feel we're breaking down a lot of barriers in the world.
I think three of the top, 5-6 players, we got Doncic. We've got Porzingis, of course, who is such a nice player, but out of the Kumbo. And Jokic. I mean, the names go on and on of key contributors to winning teams.
You have to make a case that the world team against the U.S. team, if they were ever stacked against each other, that would be a heck of a game.
You and I would pay for the ticket, but I would pay to watch that.
I'm willing and able to pay immediately. Sign me up. When are we going?
I hope soon. Looking at who's out there now for the Mavericks. Derek Lively comes in for Daniel Gafford. And it's P.J. Washington in for Najee Marshall. And Gobert kicks to Edwards. Minnesota gets it back at a new shot clock of 14 seconds. Edwards, pure.
Anthony Edwards.
And without looking at the scoreboard, you think they were the team trailing and trying to fight their way back.
Shams, you've been around the NBA for a long time now. Which players do you enjoy watching the most?
Greatness, especially the guys that are regarded among the greatest of all time, like LeBron James, like Stephen Curry, like Kevin Durant. You have to throw those in there, but this is a new crop of Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Have to throw Luka Doncic in there. You have Donovan Mitchell, you have Paolo Banchero, you have Tyrese Halliburton, you have Joel Embiid, you have Tyrese Maxey, Jimmy Butler, you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Devin Booker, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama. So let's not have anyone here left out.
All right, they're all fun to watch.
Given his shooting ability, Irving presents a ton of problems in the pick and roll.
For Minnesota, they've gone 2 of 6 from the field in the second quarter so far. And while we've got a moment, let's send it over to our terrific reporter, David Aldridge. David?
Kevin, thanks. The Mavericks at last season's trade deadline added length by acquiring Daniel Gafford and P.J. Washington. Coach Jason Kidd says they help on both ends. Gafford has the ability to roll, he has great hands. PJ can put the ball on the floor and guard 1 through 5. And then defensively, they both bring physicality. Kevin?
David, there is an argument to be made. That was one of the best trades at midseason this league has seen in a very long time. Conley gets the bucket.
Well, he's been very reliable tonight. Not wasting any chances, really using his head.
So, Shams, when the league brought in that 65-game play rule, it sure seemed to motivate players to suit up.
Those awards aren't just about prestige, Kevin. They're about cold, hard cash. And every summer, we're going to see records set for the biggest contract in NBA history. Every summer that goes by. And that certainly has an effect on players wanting to play and players being in the lineup. Now with the 65 games played rule, there is an incentive for all NBA teams and different accolades.
Yes, well said. Irving misses.
And his pure defensive effort changed that shot from an easy one to a tough one.
And that's what you have to do. Protect the house.
Mavericks trailed by 4. Gobert with the block.
So good at finding these rejections. Gobert has all the physical tools and razor-sharp reflexes as a defender.
Outside Irving. 2:49 left to play in the first half. That doesn't go in either for Irving. Here's DiVincenzo. Second shot opportunity, and that's 2 points on the way. DiVincenzo's got 6.
And guys, they continue to put a lot of pressure on the interior defenders with their work down low.
Dallas calls timeout. As the teams head into this timeout, a chance for the coaches now to map out some plays for the next few minutes and a chance for the players to rehydrate with some Gatorade. That's important if they want to make sure they don't wear down later in the game.
Absolutely. Over the course of a game, you have to stay hydrated.
And it's a completely new group on the floor for the Mavericks. Minnesota also making some changes. Reed, he's checked in for Randall. McDaniels comes in for Edwards. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker in for Mike Conley. And Shams, what an absolute delight it has been having you courtside with all of us tonight. Thank you so much for taking time to join us. It has been a true pleasure.
Thanks so much for the invite. I can't wait to do it again sometime. I'm honored and privileged.
Oh, we are going to hold you to that. Thank you again. Oh, wasn't that wonderful? Easy to see why Shams has so many sources around the game. He's so easy to talk to.
Yeah, it's all about relationships at the end of the day. When the conversations come easily, that suits his purpose as a reporter.
And here's DiVincenzo from the arc. He scores his 5th field goal. He's taken 9 shots to get those 5.
And that's one way to extend the lead. Continue to light it up from long range. They have all the confidence in the world right now from the three-point line.
Doncic, no good.
And even with good coverage defensively that time, he has confidence to drill the three.
Well, McDaniels is a physical player. He doesn't